As all of you know, baseball in Chautauqua County has deep roots. The Jamestown Falcons date back to the 1930s, and many professional ball clubs have used Dietrick Park as a development ground for many other players. The Detroit Tigers, Atlanta Braves, Montreal Expos, Pittsburgh Pirates, Miami Marlins have all developed ball players right here in Jamestown that have gone on to major leagues. Jamestown has evolved from the days of the New York Penn League to the New York Prospect League, and to this day, our very own Tarp Skunks as a member of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. At this time, I'd like to call on Jamestown's own Mr. Baseball, Russ Dietrick, to promote our Tarp Skunks.
Well, thank you very, very much, folks. It's nice to be here tonight. It's nice to see a crowd. Well, I'm used to seeing crowds. I walk down into the stadium, and all year long we had crowds. And as you know, there's a ticket or there's a business card laying on your desk, and you'll see there that they doubled the attendance down there watching that baseball this year. They won the Western Division Championship. They put 3 players on the League All-Stars. And boy, this is something. They increased the merchandise sales by 500%. Many of those things we just talked about can only be successful and can only be done because of you out there. As I look around, I see a lot of faces, I'm sure, that walked into the stadium more than one time, and where they set the attendance night after night after night, setting the records. And it was players come an outstanding team put together. That was an important team that we had to have down there, the team on the field. And if you have a scorecard or something, hang on to it, because in not too many years, you'll be finding them along with Randy Johnson and Nellie Fox as Hall of Famers that played on that dirt down at that stadium will be coming from the Tarp Skunks. And there will be some Tarp Skunks playing down there this year. Like Jim Roselli used to tell me when we went to the ball game, he said, well, you never know when you're out there looking which ones are going to the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So that's one thing to think about and to enjoy down there. It is a great team on the field, and the great team on the field won the games, and the great team on the field won the championship. But it's more than that. Teams had to be put together to allow that team to be on the field. There had to be an organization put together, the Jamestown Community Baseball, and boy, what a team that is. A marvelous team, wonderful. And the management that run the stadium day after day and took all the stones out of the infield. I used to hide stones under second base to make sure the groundskeepers were doing their job. That goes back many years, back in the 50s. I went down there the other day and I thought I found one of those stones, but it was a bird egg, so it was all right. Tim Castle used to holler at me, he says, all these stones on the field, they're coming from the parking lot. Well, that was all fun to do. And that is so important. And the community of Jamestown and the surrounding community who support that stadium that is down there for the ball players to play on. And whether they're a 9-year-old playing on it, or whether they're one of the Tarp Skunks playing on it, or whether they're one of the schools or the college teams that are playing on that field is so important in developing baseball. As they said, it all started in 1939 in Cell Run, and then in 1940, the community decided we should do something in Jamestown. So the team then moved to Allen Park, and they played in Allen Park on that 1 year while it took the time to build Municipal Stadium. And Municipal Stadium was then put on the map. The wonderful thing about it, the management of the team told me, so many of the players on the other teams were hoping that someday they would be on the team in Jamestown because of the beautiful facility, the beautiful community, and the beautiful caring community. And then to make all of that available, there is a budget, and you got to make your budget. And thanks to so many people. And one that can tell us more and more about all of that we talked about, that team that was put together to help finance and help give support and encouragement to the Tarp Skunks. And how many of you people like the odor of a skunk? Raise your hand. Oh, there's my Aunt Wilma back there. Aunt Wilma, thank you. Anytime a skunk made an announcement, she would open the windows in the house so it would come in. And my father and her husband, they went all over trying to find a perfume that smelled like a skunk, but they never could find it. But we have a guy that went out and he found the people that would make it possible, make it work, and to meet that budget. And I would introduce to you somebody you know, but I would just say, there's no man that has given more to the community. I remember him working at Allen Park on the sliding area when he was smaller than the kids that were sliding, and all of those activities in our community. And he's touched so many, many things. Now I'm going to let him touch the microphone. He told me I had 3 hours to talk to you tonight, so I'm going to give the other 2, that guy over there that's reading the book, I'm going to give all of those extra hours over to Greg Peterson.
Thank you, Russ. All right, this is a speed drill. 5 minutes was the total we had for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. Let me just simply say to thank you to everybody who's out here, at one form or manner was involved in baseball, and in one form or manner probably learned a little bit about the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, a team which came out of nowhere. And just a brief talk about how the community has come together. When the Jamestown Jammers, through their current ownership, found it's in a position where they decided to move all of their franchises to the Midwest, they advised the mayor, Sam Teresi, that this franchise was going to be sold. And so Sam said, "What are you going to do about it, Greg?" And I said, "What am I going to do about it? I don't think I'm interested in buying anything." And he said, "Well, what are we going to do? This will be the end of baseball from 1939 forward. This is a whole legacy. So what are we going to do?" And I said, "Why don't you do this, Sam? Why don't you ask him to give it to us? Give it to us." Sam goes, "No way. They're not going to give it to us." And I said, "Yeah, he's going to feel really bad because he won the championship." He won the championship of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League that year. He sent Sam a ring and then decided he would leave. Try the guild card. And I know everybody here has played the guild card once in their lives. My wife's here and she knows, she's nodding profusely that I played the guild card. So with that in mind, 2 weeks after Sam presented this, the owner came back and said to Sam, "Tell him that I will do that. I will give the franchise if the community creates a franchise, Jamestown Community Baseball, and they take it from there, a Jamestown Community Baseball LLC." So that was they threw down the gauntlet, and Sam said, "Greg, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to take charge?" And so with that in mind, and I see several of you stepped up quickly and got involved with maintaining this ownership structure, which was essential in order to have a team in the this league, which is a collegiate league, and of which we had this year with the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. Now, as Russ said, the franchise went crazy. People showed up all over the place. They didn't know what to think of the name Tarp Skunks. Either you liked it or you hated it. But guess what? You talked about it. You talked about it. And that talking led to, all of a sudden, a huge attendance uptick, a huge attendance merchandise uptick, and an involvement with many people that are here in the audience today with sponsorships and involvement. So it's the community. It is owned by the community. It continues to be such, and it'll be sustained by this community. So with that, I just wanted to underscore what Russ said, who is Mr. Baseball and is Mr. Community. And in fact, he was the guy who was the last time there was a community-owned baseball in 1960s, the Jamestown Falcons. It was Russ. Russ put his own money in. Russ pulled together the people. And ironically, here we are in 2022. Our chairman of the board is Russ Dietrick. And for that, we should all be thrilled about supporting baseball, supporting the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, and we expect to see everybody at the Russ to sit in honor of this team. So enjoy, take home this card, please keep it, and it'll tell you a little bit about us on the back, but most importantly on the front, is a Q code. And if you don't know what that is, just take a picture of it, and things will start happening on your iPhone. So thank you very much. Thank you.